Well, hello. Well,
Look at
hello.
us.
You're not Justin. You're not.
No, part of the original trilogy, though.
Yeah, you are part of the original trilogy, hence Maxwell Strikes
My
Back.
bad.
Play on words
Uh,
there.
yeah, I get it. I love it. And Hero HQ Hobby Hour, my filer in the chat. He's
Yes, yes,
throwing
yes, yes.
party poppers.
Party poppers. Thank you for the comment. So, welcome everyone to episode 131 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis, and you are?
Jonathan Maxwell.
Jonathan, take it to the Maxwell. And you may notice that Justin obviously isn't here. He called out sick. I didn't realize this was work, and you could just call out sick. I didn't realize that's how this works. But
Well, it's
haven't.
an unpaid day off for him.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. But anyways, we have Maxwell, which is obviously better anyways. So I mean, I won't tell him that, and chances are he's not watching, so it doesn't really
No,
matter.
I'll tell him,
So
though.
you'll tell him. You sure
I'll
will.
make sure he knows.
Yes. So, what we're going to get into today is Jonathan's going to update us on all the things that he's done since our regular viewers have seen you last, some of the things that you've been up to. We're going to talk about Legend of Zelda, where I'm going to kind of give my brief thoughts on what I've played so far of Tears of the Kingdom, and then we're going to talk about our top 5 Zelda games of all time. Obviously, you hear my dog barking.
Marley knows it's podcast time.
That's right. And I just realized my microphone was aiming to the ceiling. So that probably was real great at the beginning of that. So,
It wasn't awful, actually.
yeah. But, anyways, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this and let's talk about what we've been up to. So, Maxwell, I'm going to go first because you're going to have a lot more to say than myself. So, for me this week, I've actually had quite a busy week. I beat Jedi Survivor. So,
You've
that was
already beat it?
Yes, I already beat it. I mainlined the story essentially because I knew Tears of the Kingdom was coming out, and I wanted to get that done before obviously the new Zelda came out. The story was absolutely fantastic. Maxwell, did you play the first one at all?
No.
Okay. Well, anyways, the story was absolutely great. It's if you've been on the fence about playing it, because I know there's been a lot of news and a lot of news out there that like performance on PC obviously isn't a great experience. I would recommend trying to play it sooner rather than later. The only reason I say that is if you have the story spoiled for you, uh, it's one of the better stories I've seen in a Star Wars game. And if it would have been spoiled for me, I would have been really sad just based on what happens in the game. But would definitely recommend playing that game. Also, I binge watched. I think the last episode airs tomorrow, but Big Door Prize. I watched that. I don't know if you've seen that yet, Max, or not. Have you seen or heard of it for that matter?
No, I only recently saw the thumbnail for it. So that is a new one for me.
Yeah. It's on Apple TV Plus. It's an interesting concept where there's this mysterious machine that shows up in a small town, in a convenience store, where basically it will tell you your life's potential, and people start living accordingly to what this machine tells them that they could do, and it gets kind of wild and out of hand. So it's a pretty interesting show. Got a lot of mystery behind it. And then what else have I done? I watched the new episode of Silo yesterday. That continues to be good. And then also yesterday, on a whim, I decided to watch the movie Fall, which came out in 2022, which was it was the movie about these two girls that scale up to the tower, up this 2,000-foot tower, and get stranded up there. And honestly, it was pretty good. I was surprised. I watched it on my phone as I was cleaning around the house. And even though I was watching it on my phone, like some of the stuff that happens in the movie, like I felt like my palms sweating and I had like this anxiety of like watching this on screen, even though it was just on my tiny little phone. But I couldn't imagine of watching that like in an actual theater, because it stressed me out, because a lot of that stuff really makes you feel like they're that high up in the air. It's really well done. So,
That's
um,
interesting.
yeah. Essentially, I was reading about it yesterday. So basically, what they did is to give it that look. They built a 200-foot tower on top of a mountain, and they actually did the acting on top of that tower. So it kind of made it seem like it was that high up in the air. They was going to try to do it primarily with green screen
They
and stuff.
was.
Yeah, they were. Hey,
This is crazy to me because like it could have just been So they had to act the whole movie in this incredibly dangerous 200-foot tower?
Yes. Yes.
No, thanks.
We have a comment from Justin. Says, "Good afternoon, you glorious bastards." Good afternoon to you as well, sir.
Yes, good to see Justin still sticking around after the year-long hiatus that happens every year.
That's right. Hey, we're doing good. We're 3 episodes. That's more than we did last year combined. So we're starting off strong. But anyways, other than that, that was. Oh, I also have started to dabble in mobile gaming. Maxwell, I don't know if you've seen. I know you probably don't subscribe to Apple Arcade. If I was a betting man, but the reason I say that is you're a Ninja Turtles fan, right? I imagine.
Well, I know. Yeah, I'm aware of the mobile game.
Yes. So they came out with a mobile game. Well, they also brought Shredder's Revenge to the App Store, which I did not realize. But yeah, they have TMNT Splintered Fate, and it's a roguelike that's actually 4-player co-op, which is really really cool. I actually ended up buying a controller that works with my phone, and I was playing a little bit of it, and also used it for PlayStation Remote Play, which I haven't tried that in forever, and I had mixed results before. But I was actually able to play Jedi Survivor outside of my house at a coffee shop on cellular network and be able to actually fully play it without any issue.
That blows my mind. I imagine there's only challenges for online gaming, like competitive stuff. There's probably
Yeah.
some delay.
Yeah, for sure. But other than that, and I'll get more into detail around that because that might be a nod of the week. We'll see.
No, don't spoil it.
I said it might.
People only watch this for pick the week or not of the week, and
Yeah,
there you are. You just ruined it.
No,
Justin's already tuned out.
Yeah, that is true. He's already left. And also, I got a text message saying that Justin is watching, like other Justin. So he heard us talking smack. So I wouldn't know because he hasn't commented. So I thought he would. But anyways,
yeah. Like why do a private? Hey, here privately, there's somebody else watching this, and it's me.
Yeah. Joke's on us, right? But anyways, other than that, that's pretty much what I have been up to this week. Maxwell, why don't you give us an update on what you've been up to this week, but also what have you been up to for the year plus that you've not been seen on the screen?
When was the last time I was on this channel?
It's been over a year, easily.
Well, most certainly. I mean, I had to have been I was in Florida.
Yeah, I don't know if you have been on here.
Which would have been like 2018.
Oh Lord.
2017 was probably my last time on the show.
Wow.
Well, I've got a lot to say. So, 2018, I leave Florida and I go to North Carolina. I get to North Carolina, I start doing acting jobs. I started doing it, and I was like, wow, this is really fun. I started doing a YouTube channel that comes around about 2020, and I'm doing that YouTube channel, which is about science and space and all kinds of fun facts and stuff. And that channel that was really compressed. I did honestly force myself to shorten my life story. So basically, I was doing this science and space channel for like 2 years or something, and that was fun until it wasn't anymore because it was just becoming stressful. Where it took a lot of work. I was doing a lot of green screen stuff, and it was like a lot of effort, a lot of research and things. And then eventually, it was just like, this is not in, there's like no return on my investment for this.
Yeah.
But I did get to go to Maryland and the James Webb Space Telescope, the first images of that new telescope last year. So I was invited to NASA's event for that when they first get to show off all of these like mind-blowing images. So it was super cool. So I guess it was kind of all worth it for that. But that channel also gave me a lot of experience and stuff that I am now doing into my current channel, which is related to all this stuff behind me. And we will get into that. But yeah, I'm in North Carolina now, and I love it. Much like you, leaving our home state, you find that there's just the other places are so much better. But yeah, so as well as doing the channel stuff, I with having different jobs over the years and doing web design is the most recent stuff that I was doing for years. the biggest thing on my plate, aside from this channel stuff, is acting. So I do nothing. I've done auditions and I've had callbacks for like bigger stuff, like bigger TV shows and things. I just, that's obviously is much harder to get. I do a lot of local commercials, or like the biggest stuff is in what are called industrials. So it's just like, it's a video that is really only going to be shown to employees. So it might be some kind of safety training video, or stuff that's just might live on the internet, but it's just shared. Like I've done stuff for Microsoft and Red Hat and stuff, and those things kind of end up like being like, it's a link. So if you're going to a product or a job position or something like that, I might be there talking about the job position stuff. So it's fun stuff that's like, usually not a lot of your life is spent on it.
You're like Andy Bernard from The Office, where he was doing those like internal commercials where he had to like splash water in his eyes, like those type of internal like training videos.
Not to that extreme yet, but I did the first acting job I had was the fall of 2019. It was in November. I was just an extra in a short thing for the airport. There just needed people to like kind of shoot some stuff for the shops and the restaurants and stuff. So it was like an easy day. Second job I got was the next week, and it was 2 days doing forklift safety training. So I'm in this like giant fork facility. I'm walking around to the camera, reading a teleprompter. It was crazy. Oh, I can't. The emojis don't come through. Huh?
Yeah, emojis didn't come through, but hand pink waving. That's Christian. He's one of my buddies that also has a podcast as well, called The Testing Room, with a couple friends. So thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it. Yeah, go ahead, Maxwell.
Nice.
Sorry.
Can you edit that out though, because it's not his turn? No, I'm just kidding. This is my story, Christian. But yeah, so acting and doing this stuff. So yeah, the biggest thing for me now, every year I do GalaxyCon. So I do all my drawings like this and all of these, and I have a booth and I sell it. And this last July, Judith Hogue, who plays April from the original Ninja Turtle movie, was there, and she was doing autographs and stuff. So I had a drawing that I had her sign, but then I saw a toy booth. It's like, man, I really want to see the movie turtles from when we were kids, the just those Playmates toys. And my child brain thinks that they were like soft touch, that they look just like the movie. I remember crying because they were for sale at a flea market, $50 each back in the 90s. And I wasn't allowed to have one because they're $50 in the 90s. But I remember them just being the most realistic thing. So I will search them on eBay. And they, by the way, don't look anything like the movies, and they look really cheap. But when I was at GalaxyCon, I went to a toy booth, and there's a brand called NECA. And they do these Ninja Turtles, and they are truly movie accurate.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, because you got some, but these boys are like insanely movie accurate that I just couldn't even like comprehend. This is what my childhood brain thought that the other toys were. What are you doing, Travis?
I'm typing. Go ahead.
Who are you typing to?
Don't worry about it.
Live in the moment, bro.
I'm living. I'm in the moment. I'm out here producing. Go ahead.
This moment.
All
right. But yes, I saw a pack of these things and was like, just couldn't believe it. And I only got 2 of them, the two, Raphael and Michelangelo. And I was like, well, I obviously need to get the other boys. And then I started watching videos on YouTube and saw some other channels out there that were doing reviews and stuff. And I was like, falling in love with finding that there's all kinds of stuff. Like there's Ripley from Aliens. And I was like, okay, well, I just started to go down the rabbit hole. And now I have a full channel around all of this stuff. So it's just... it's been a lot of fun, and there's a lot to talk about with the channel because I also do a lot of artwork for the channel.
Yeah, let me.
I don't know how you want to get into all this because
no, that's fine. I'm gonna try to pull this up real quick. Let me see if I can. Give me just a second here. All right. Let's see. Maybe. Do you see anything?
I see nothing. but the two of us in a logo.
I know, right? What's that about? All right, let me see if this works. Let me see here if I can get this to work. See, this is what
Okay.
happens when Justin's not here and I've never had to do this. We get to all learn in real time how this works.
Well, the nice thing is that it worked when we tested it.
Yeah, and I think the reason being is it might help if I add it to the stream.
Oh.
So let me, yeah, look at that. Look at there. Now let me get rid of this. Let me get rid of this this banner here. There we go. Now you should see it, right? Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, see it, man. See me. All my videos. So yeah, basically this channel is just allowed me to be creative nonstop, which is awesome. I gotta say, if there's anybody watching this, period, hard stop, full stop, that is a collector, that collector world, at least the people that come to my channel and talk to me there and Twitter and stuff, people are incredible. Like, it's the most rewarding thing that I've done. And for somebody that likes to create stuff and then show people, like, that's, I do art, and my personality type is, let me show it to you. Now tell me it looks good.
Yeah.
You know, so when people buy my art, that's like the ultimate compliment. But this channel is like, that's with everybody. Everybody is just so kind and generous, and it's like constantly oozing of positive energy and stuff. But there's these tiny little baby turtles, these guys, that recently came out, super tiny. And this has kind of been a lot of people's obsessions based off of the 87 cartoon. But there's this, it came with this little TV. And with the TV, you can actually like take the screens out. So this is the screen that I just like mocked up to put in there. But you can, it came with like 10 different screens or something. And then I just, thanks to my friend Mo from Moscato Bot, he was like, we need just like a bunch of custom images. So this is kind of where everything started for me. I mean, the channel reviewing stuff and making goofy things, whatever, to also being in the art realm, is that I made a ton of these. There's like video games, there's TV shows, cartoons, movies, all this like nostalgic stuff. And I just gave them away, and you donate if you wanted, but it was free download for like tons of those things. And then the next step from there is that they came with that TV has a VCR, comes with these little VHS tapes. So then it took way too long to figure it out.
And I'm going to blow you up here in just a second so they can see it really well. So I'm going to let you be the, go ahead.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So the little tiny VHS, I figured out how to like modify old VHS covers. So I got tons of stuff like that as well. Aliens movies, all kinds of crazy stuff. Oh,
there's a comment. Yeah, there's a comment. It says, I'm still here. That must have been somebody you shouted out, I assume.
Early on, he was our first comment as soon as we were launched.
Let's go.
Yeah, he is a person that I've collaborated with. So we have a bunch of like all these links in my stuff. So like if you can get to my link tree, everything's there. I didn't mean you, but it's in the top of that Instagram. But yes, you can click on that, and there's a exclusive offer one, the third one down.
Yeah.
So click on, you can click on that, and that is something I worked on with Hero HQ Hobby Hour, and we made this exclusive set. And you can kind of flip through. I don't know if it'll come through. It's kind of small. So those are some of the images, the designs that he made. So we worked together. So this has been a fun way. Like I out of this, which is great. So we worked on these things and created miniature stuff. So people can choose to print these, like buy these. They can print them out and then make their own little miniatures that work perfectly with their collectibles.
And this is all with your action figures, right? Posing with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is really cool. Yeah. And then you also have an Instagram, right? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You're there. You're there, baby. Yeah, so now this is like
this is uncomfortable. I love that. Love that.
Tobey Maguire there.
Yeah.
So another big part of this, those little boxes that you can see there, that's what I'm making here. So I fully made, like from scratch, these boxes that they can put these figures in. So these came in like a set with the TV and all that stuff. So then I just made these little mini boxes and included the plastic window and everything. And drew the art on the front of them myself. So it's super fun. This has been my biggest project as of late. It's been taking many hours because I have to do 125 of these little boxes, and I have to cut them, put the plastic windows in there. There's a sleeve inside that is color matched to the to whichever turtle you get.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a lot of work. That's either tomorrow or Wednesday. That's all going to be completed, and I get to ship all of those things out to people, which is super exciting. But then I get to make T-shirts and stuff, which is, I'm like entering this realm that, like, this channel of collectibles has pushed me into doing so much more creatively, which is also incredibly rewarding.
Yeah, so, but you're wearing this shirt right now, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I
rocking
am.
Rocking your own merch. Look at you.
Yep, New York City, and then I drew Krang and then the turtle blimp into it. It's funny because, like, I like Ninja Turtles. Okay, that's a short sentence. It's just I like Ninja Turtles. Period. I also like a lot of other stuff, but the turtle fandom, I guess you could say, has been a large part of my audience. There's like a lot more crossover of turtle fans, so it's kind of I have like a resurgence of my love for Ninja Turtles, but I'm making all of these things that are, you know, like very turtle heavy, like all of my drawings and stuff for these shirts. But
yeah, no, that's great. It's you've been busy since you've been gone.
Yeah,
very busy. And you also mentioned what else? Is there anything else you want to share, or is that everything?
No, I was already talking too much, so let's get.
Oh no, you're good.
Are we done?
Yeah, that's it. It's a wrap. No, I wanted to use this as a segue, unless you had anything else to say about your channel. So obviously the name of his channel. Let me just pop it back up here. So this is the channel. You can find him there on I'm assuming Instagram. Obviously YouTube is where your big platform is, right? So at Nostalgia Unboxed as well. And then you can find his link tree on his Instagram, which will link you pretty much everywhere from what I saw. So yeah, pretty much everywhere. And you also sell your artwork there as well, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you can buy as like a large 11x17 print or magnets and stuff.
Yeah. So So I say that to kind of transition. So you had mentioned that you had made obviously you're a big fan of Elden Ring, right? You're a big fan of all the Souls games, so you drew this, which is amazing. But the reason I say that is I wanted to share this picture, which is one of my favorites, because it's kind of a hybrid of two of your loves, right? So you have Elden Ring, and then you also have Legends of Zelda, which is going to be our primary topic tonight, which is really cool. It's kind of a blend of those two worlds, which is dope. So I thank you for sending that to me, because that was one of the things that I wanted to show, because it's one of my favorite.
Well, listen, there's a lot of things people don't know. One of those things people don't know is that you and I are best friends.
We are. We've been best friends for a hot minute. Yeah.
Might not be news to you. 2009, something like that.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah, no, that is right. All right, well, let me stop sharing the screen and put us back in place there. So one of the things that we want to get into is we wanted to talk about so I want to give my brief reactions to Tears of the Kingdom. However, I do not want it to have any spoilers, because Maxwell, the reason we're not talking more about it tonight is Maxwell himself has not played it yet. Biggest reason is he's so busy building little turtle boxes and everything is with his channel that he knows as soon as he starts it, it's going to be a big time suck. And he's got lots of other things he should be doing. So he's going to wait on that. But I would just say it's good. It's no surprise, right? Like, I think that's one of those things that nobody really expected. So real quick, want to bring in a few comments. So here's a comments from Needles. Look at that beautiful man. I'm assuming, is this somebody you know? Is that a turtle mixed with a foot soldier? What is that?
Yeah, it sure is.
Oh, okay.
So that is Gary. He is the the dynamic duo behind the Party Wagon podcast and the TMNT Party Wagon on Facebook. I've been on his podcast a couple times. It's been great. He's a good dude for sure. Does a lot of custom figures and things, but quite the compliment.
It looks like,
that I'm
yeah, it looks like you have a, yeah, it says,
beautiful
and then
man.
Needles also says, I'm playing Zelda right now. Absolutely. Is that, and yeah, there you go. And then you, looks like you also have another viewer's on by Thomas Goes Nostalgic. Jonathan's a great guy. While getting to know him, I have learned he loves Hasbro and his favorite figure is Super 7 Robin Hood. Yes. So yeah, so will not turn off. Oh, girlfriend will not turn off Tears of the Kingdom. Well, that's unfortunate. So there's somebody from your community, I assume, right? I mean, it makes sense. Right?
Yeah, Thomas. Yeah. So another friend that I've made from this whole endeavor, I guess. He actually made this custom. Hold on, we'll do it right.
Oh yeah,
of course, it's not going to come too well, but this custom diorama for aliens, it goes all the way deep. You can't really see in this webcam video, but
yeah,
he's a very talented boy.
Yep. And then we have Hobby Hour saying, I haven't even finished Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild was a huge game, and if you thought that was big enough, well, Tears of the Kingdom is even bigger. I started the game, and you know how they always give you the like first initial, here's these 3 places you have to go before you really unlock the game. Well, I did those things last night, and I thought this game's already big enough. And then there was another reveal, and I'm like, oh, okay, it just got way bigger. So, so thought that was, yeah, you hate when that happens, don't you, Maxwell?
I wish it could get bigger. Do you think now is the ground levels that are not in the sky, hence being the ground levels, is that the similar kingdom, or is it all refreshed? You can see the same points of interest and stuff.
It will be very much like the same. That's not to say that there won't be some things that are different, but as soon as I landed, I was immediately like, oh, that's what happened. Because I didn't realize that's what was going to happen, to be honest with you. I didn't know that.
Okay. But there are similar points. Like you can tell that this was the map. Something happened, but you can still see some similar. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah. Bringing in one more comment here from Needles. If you don't have Ocarina of Time as your number 1, you're dead to me, Jonathan. All right, well, we're going to have to see. And then Needles also
might edit some lists.
Yeah. Needles also said same kingdom, but they changed a lot. It feels brand new. So yeah. So nice. It's overall great. I was talking to my buddy Alex about this, which is another one of the individuals that's on the Testing Room podcast, and he was telling me, and him and I kind of agreed that sometimes games just feel too big. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you don't like, if you're trying to mainline the story and there's just so much stuff, like we're talking like there's over 900 seeds to find in this game, which has been upped from the last game dramatically. Right. And it's just, there's just so much to do, which I understand because you know, they only release one of these type of games every 5 to 7 years. So my thought process is let's just put as much in as we can because it's going to be a while for you to get another one. But for me, I wish it'd be the approach of like, you know, here's the main chunk of the story, right? Like here's everything. And then just have a roadmap for the next 5 years of releasing DLC that just gradually adds and adds and adds, as opposed to just giving it to me all at one go. You know what I mean? So
I know what you mean. And having played Elden Ring, which is just absolutely mind-blowingly large, every time I do something and then it's like, oh, there's another part of the map unlocked. I'm like, how is there still more? I don't think that I would be happy with having, even if it was free DLC. I don't think I'd be happy with this. Like, here's the base game and the story and stuff, and then now we added on some stories and stories and stories. I don't think that I would be satisfied with that.
Yeah, it's just the older I get, and this may just be me telling one of myself, more of a one-track mind I have. So when I have all these things that's scattered out throughout like the game, that it's hard for me just to like mainline the story. It's just sometimes hard for me to stick with. I had that issue with Breath of the Wild, and I did finish it, but I don't, because I'm one of those people that scrapes the map, even if I know that I have to come. Like, think about like Super Metroid, right? We all know we had to circle back around once you got a weapon, you couldn't do anything there. Like, I spend so much time scraping the map, knowing at some point I'm going to have to come back anyways, but I do it anyways. You know what I mean? Like I
Yeah.
have that issue, especially
Yeah,
like
I have
Diablo
fun
and stuff like
for
that. Like cover the map.
yeah. Yeah, I gotta find everything as much as I
Yeah.
possibly can. And that comes from days of like Final Fantasy and walking around a map, and then like there's like hidden stuff in the rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm real saddened. I'm like kind of reading ahead in the comments here, and I'm real saddened.
I'm going to pull one in here in just a second. Is this? Yeah. So Christian said, before we get into the top games, can we just get number one out of the way and have a lengthy discussion as to why Wind Waker is the best and why everyone who doesn't think that is wrong? I mean, we'll get into that for sure. I do think Wind Waker is severely underrated, and we'll probably more likely get into that. So let's go ahead and pull one more in by Hobby Hour. I couldn't beat the first encounter in Elden Ring, so I returned it. I'm sorry, Jonathan.
Yeah, that
love the
it's
honesty.
like if you haven't played Souls games, that is a very frustrating experience. And technically, depending on which first encounter you're talking about, you're not supposed to beat it. You're supposed to die. And then the next one, which would be like the big tree sentinel guy, whatever. It's on like a huge dude on a massive horse. You're still not supposed to beat that guy early.
Yeah.
It's a game where like, especially that one, kind of like Breath of the Wild, where it's so massive that if you haven't unlocked your levels enough to defeat this section, just go do something else and have fun. And I see this in Breath of the Wild as games where you just have to set like not destination timelines. Like, okay, I'm going to play until I get there. You have to say, I'm going to play for 2 hours and then be done. Because you 100%. Won't get to that next mission point in 2 hours.
Yeah, 100%. Well, let's go ahead and get into the discussion. Before we do, I do want to pull up just real quick. So Metacritic's top 10 Legend of Zelda games list. I just wanted to go through these really quickly before we get into our top 5. Justin was also kind enough, since he didn't show up, he was kind enough to at least send us our list, literally with no context. So I can't really speak to why these are his favorite games, but we'll at least let you know what they are. All right, so number 10 on Metacritic, the Minish Cap, which came out on Game Boy Advance in 2005. Not sure if you played Minish Cap. I remember playing it, but I did not beat it. Game Boy Advance was one of those consoles where I felt like I almost played every single game on that console because I loved it so much. Especially the Game Boy SP was my jam. So, did you have a Game Boy Advance? You better have.
I'm trying to think of which Game Boy I had. I think I just had the little micro.
The micro? Man, you must really hate yourself.
I was in Japan when it was out, and I bought it there used, and that was like the most convenient because it just goes right in your pocket. It's very tiny, easy to travel with. That thing I didn't use for like 3 years, and then was like, oh, I have to get on a plane trip, so I'm gonna pull that thing out, and then I forgot to charge it, and I'm on the airplane. I turned it on, it worked for the whole hour flight. It could have kept going, but I charged it when I got to the hotel.
I don't know if you just primarily wore skinny jeans and that was like the best fit for you, but I could put the SP in my back pocket, but I didn't wear skinny jeans, so maybe that's why.
There's a difference of being able to fit something in your pocket, but then also being comfortable with the big ass thing in your. What does your wallet look like?
Oh, I don't. It's not on me, but I don't carry. It's in my front pocket now, anyways. I carry my wallet in my front pocket now. But
so
anyways,
you finally went from a bifold to just a single. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's kind of like that.
I finally grew up. Finally grew up.
Yeah. The George Costanza.
Yeah. So number 9 was Phantom Hourglass. Phantom Hourglass was obviously set after Wind Waker. That one came out in 2007 on the original DS. They gave that one a 90. Number 8 was A Link Between Worlds, which was on 3DS and came out in 2013. That one was rated a 91 on Metacritic. A game that this one I never played, but I just recently picked up the re-release on Switch, was Skyward Sword. Never played Skyward Sword. I was not a huge fan of playing Zelda games with motion controls. That's why I passed on this one, because this one came out in Wii in 2011, was rated a 93. One that hits home close for me, A Link to the Past, originally released on SNES in 1992 and re-released on Game Boy Advance in 2002. That one was rated a 95 on Metacritic.
Wow.
and I'm going to tell one on myself, and I may have my nerd card revoked for life. Number 5 on the list is Majora's Mask, which I never played. Never played Majora's Mask. No. Was released on N64 in 2000. Was rated in 95. I think the big reason is because I read kind of like the description of like, you're playing with a certain amount of time. And I know how strongly I felt about Ocarina of Time, that I felt like nothing could follow up with that right after. So I just never played it, to be honest with you. That came out, in 2000 on the N64 and was rated at 95. Twilight Princess, which I thoroughly enjoyed. It came out in 2006 on the GameCube/Wii. That was one of those. They released it on both, and they advertised it as being slightly better on the Wii. That one was rated a 96. Number 3, not on Christian's list though. Clearly, The Wind Waker, released in GameCube in 2003, was rated a 96. Number 2. Breath of the Wild came out on Wii and Switch at the same time. 2017 was rated a 97. Breath of the Wild. You beat Breath of the Wild, right?
Yeah.
You played the crap out of that game. I remember you played it on.
Crap out of it. I know.
Did you play it on? Yeah, Wii U. That's right. You have a Switch now, though, right? Because you bought it when Smash Brothers came out.
I put my big boy pants on and said, "I want 3% increased graphics."
Yeah. Well, you wanted that new Smash Bros. All right. Number 1, as to no surprise on most people's list, Ocarina of Time on N64 in 1998. That game was rated a 99.
That's insane.
I know, bro. And I haven't actually looked. I should have probably looked to see what I should have looked to see what it's sitting at currently on Tears of the Kingdom is, because I did not look that up, and I'm not going to currently. So you can silently look it up while. But
I will loudly look it up.
Okay. Did you already look it up?
Oh, but
I didn't think so.
I do wonder. Is this like back in 1998? That was those were the scores, and we accumulated them, and it's 99 on Ocarina of Time. Is that how that works? It's like all ratings up, like anything that's been, is that a recent rating going back and replaying, or is that just based on the time?
That's just what it was originally at the time, not any re-releases, right. Just what it was at the time.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, I just wanted to kind of like give that list, because Metacritic is really a combination of a lot of different reviews in one place. But now it's time to go over our list. So what we're going to do is rotate. I'll start with Justin. We'll start at number 5 and we'll work our way to number 1. Okay. So Justin
wants us to read his list. He should come on the air or talk in the comment section.
Yeah. It looks like we actually.
You.
I know that is true. Let me pull in a comment real quick that I missed. Needles here said Majora's Mask was dookie. Don't let anyone try and convince you otherwise. Strong words. Fair enough. Now it makes me not feel so bad that I missed it. But anyways, so Justin's number 5. And then Justin, if you have any context to add, feel free to just comment in the chat. But if not, we're just going to not give any context because I don't know. But Justin's number 5 is Link's Awakening. What's your number 5, Jonathan?
Well, my number 5 is because I don't recall playing enough of them to organize them, and I wanted to do like a twist answer because I wasn't sure what order we were doing. My number 5 is actually
look at that Brothers. Look at that comment, just real quick. Justin says, "I'm here." Okay,
get used to it. That's what he said.
You said
Super Smash Brothers for the 64
because he appeared in it. Is that why?
Because he's in it.
Okay.
Not enough reason to say that that's on there just because he's in it, but yeah, I just kind of wanted to give like a little like unexpected answer here because for me it really comes down to the top 3, 4 pushing it.
Okay, and what I will say is if anybody wants to put their own top 5 in comments, when we're done going through ours, I'll quickly post them and run through them. If you all want to put your own, feel free to do so. But anyways, my number 5. So yours what? So your number 5 was Super Smash on N64, correct? Which was the first release of Smash Brothers, correct?
Yes.
Yes. We have Stephen Joseph in the comments saying, "Yo, what's up?"
That's the other half of the Party Wagon podcasts.
Let's go. Yeah, so my number 5 is Link's Awakening. I thought Link's Awakening was an unexpected hit for me. The biggest reason is it gave me lots of nostalgia of like Link to the Past vibes, which obviously makes sense, right? The top down view, it had just been so long since that moment that I'd played anything quite like that with the top down view, kind of like Link to the Past. But you know, because that was I think an actual remake of the original Link's Awakening. It had the dinosaur egg, the whole 9 yards. But yeah, it's a really good one. Did you get a chance to play that one, Maxwell? No.
I want to play that and A Link Between Worlds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Justin's number 4 is Twilight Princess. So
That's the last Zelda game that my mom played, actually.
Coincidence? Coincidence? I think not.
Justin's always hollering at my mom.
Yep, hollering at your mother. Your mother's a saint.
My mom, who is indeed a saint, and I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. She was just here this last weekend. We had a lot of reconnecting on some memories and stuff, and I got her to sit down and recorded kind of like a little documentary thing, and just like pitched her some questions and stuff, and she just talked about a bunch of things, and it was just a lot of it's just for me to have for like memory, have her camera and stuff. But we wanted to kind of get into some nostalgic stuff, and she played the original Zelda game, beat it. So like when kids are off at school, she runs back in and is playing that game, and then she beats it and finds out that if you do a new game plus, everything's like moved around. She played the Pat beat it, same thing. Like we're sitting there watching her, like, come on, mom, come on. She played a lot of Ocarina of Time, but it was at a moment in life where it just wasn't as ideal for her to spend that kind of time. And then, what was that? 2000? When was Twilight Princess? When did that come out? 2000? What was it?
I believe it was 2000. I want to say 2003, 2011, I think.
Something like that. I bought a Wii, and I bought Twilight Princess for my mom. And whenever that came out.
Sorry, 2006.
Okay, 2006. So I bought those for her, and she played those, and just it was just like nice to have. Oh, thank you, Needles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just so cool to. Anyway, so the brand does carry some a lot of nostalgia.
Yeah, I do want to take just a quick second to bring in a few comments. So Christian said Link's Awakening is legit great. It's so weird and fun. Completely agree. And I honestly, it was a pleasant surprise for me, to be honest with you. Another great question I want to bring in from Steve Joseph is, and it kind of something you already went into, but if you have another story, share it. But it says, this comment says, question for you both. What was the first experience with Zelda? Do you remember it? So Maxwell, do you have one?
Definitely mom playing it. Like we played it as kids, but it was that game, as much as we played Nintendo games, that was like, that's the what we watch mom play.
Okay.
So
that's
awesome.
Yeah. For me, I remember, of course, this is showing, well, we're similar in age, but for me, I remember playing it for the first time on NES. I remember playing it, but I was playing one of my uncle's versions of it. Like they had the NES, but what I actually remember playing it on my own, and just like it being like a next level experience for me and something that would stick with me forever. And honestly, was probably one of the first games that I felt like really had me lean into gaming, and that's where I really kind of fell in love with it, was Link to the Past and Super Nintendo. That's where my dad had a Super Nintendo, and the 3 games that were staples, and Maxwell seen me play one, and I could probably beat the game with my eyes closed. Super Punch-Out being one. Love that game. Super Metroid. and Link to the Past. Those 3 games were games that were just on a regular basis recycled, played over and over and over. And that's what my experience was. That I would consider really my first experience that really changed me into playing games on a regular basis was Link to the Past. So, and if anybody has any stories they want to share, feel free to drop in the comments and we'll see if we can get to them. But yeah. So, I guess it's, is it your turn?
You did Link's Awakening.
I did Link's Awakening.
I will say
and Twilight Princess was Justin's 4th. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Mine, and a lot of this just comes down to like I haven't played enough of them, sadly, and the connection of nostalgia, and I think that's honestly what carries most of my votes. It's kind of like looking at the Metacritic. What was a 99 for Ocarina of Time? It's like, right, but if that game came out now and it had groundbreaking graphics or something, looked just like Breath of the Wild or something, would it hold? Like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, my number 4 is original NES Legend of Zelda. Because of the memories, because of, watch my mom play and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. Bring in a comment real quick. I don't know if this is one of your followers, Maxwell, but Smooth, it's got to be. There's a turtle in there. Smooth Operator is in the house. In the hizzy.
He's in the hizzy. Thank you. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming by.
Yeah. So yours, NES. Now, are we talking like the OG one or that awkward one that was the side-scrolling Zelda, like 2?
Oh no, this is not Link's Adventure Link or whatever garbage.
I had that gold cartridge though. You best believe.
Oh yeah.
But all right, it's good though.
I remember years later when emulators and stuff came out, and maybe it was like if it was just something I tried to do online or when I had modified Xbox, the original, but trying to play that second Zelda game, and I'm just like, oh god. And then I try to watch somebody online play it, and I'm just like, oh, it's no it works side scroll for some reason, and then it's too much like the Rambo game for NES, which is just.
And there's also a Turtles game that's very similar in that regards. It mixes like when you go up and it's like it's top down for a second, and then when you go in the sewers, it switches to like side scrolling. It's like real strange as well.
One of the hardest games ever.
Yeah. Another comment from Smooth Operator. Hello, gentlemen. I love the original Legends of Zelda for NES. Yes. Yep. All right. So
Everybody knows what's up.
That's right. My number 4 is A Link Between Worlds, which was on 3DS in 2013. Reason I love that game. Yeah, it's number 4.
I thought you already said your number 4.
No. Justin's number 4 was Twilight Princess, and then I passed it to you.
All right. So your number 5 was Awakening?
Yeah, Link's Awakening. Yeah.
Oh.
Justin and I had the same number 5. Maybe that's how you got confused.
I'm so lost.
I know, it's okay. Just bear with me. But mine is a Link Between Worlds. It was a great game. It was also really different because that was the one. Maxwell, I don't know if you did you have a 3DS?
I had one for a short period.
You did. Yeah. But this was the one where you could actually like put yourself on the wall as kind of like a painting and then just squeeze into cracks. So it added like a 2D/3D element. It was really different. But it was really good because it was actually a follow-up to Link to the Past, which was interesting. So that I think that was maybe why that was such a hit for me, is because it did bring back a little of that nostalgia specifically to Link to the Past, obviously. But really interesting. I like that game a lot. All right, so Justin's number 3 is that. What someone called doo-doo earlier is Majora's Mask. So that was number 3 for Justin. What about you? What is your number 3? Or did you accidentally jump ahead?
No, I'm good. I think because Justin's not here, it's confused me. Mine is A Link to the Past.
All right. There you go.
For all the great reasons. I mean, come on.
Now, I do have a question, though. Did you beat this game, or did you just watch your mom beat this game?
Both.
Oh, I was not. Plot twist. I wasn't ready for that.
Yeah, watched her beat it and then played it and beat it. Yeah, that game. There's something about the graphics alone, man. That seems to be a level. Obviously, all consoles seem to hit these like different phases in their graphics and stuff. And then some companies can really just nail it. So like Super Mario World was really great. And then A Link to the Past was really great. Those graphics were awesome. The animations, the way he ran, and just the sprites and all that stuff was just so well done.
Yeah, the little charge up effect when you charge your sword and run forward, the way you bounce off when you hit the wall, the charge up effects. Also, like at the beginning, because I don't know if they ever revisited it at all. Like, but you remember in the beginning when you're like going to the castle in the beginning, and it's like raining and lightning and thundering and stuff like that in the beginning of the game. Like, I wasn't used to those type of effects at the time, so I was just like, "This is amazing." And then you go into the Lost Woods, and it kind of has like that that fog and haziness to it, and the music changes. Yeah, it's really good. I'm a 10 out of 10 big fan. All right, we do have another comment.
Not 10 out of 10 because it's your number songs.
Hey, don't.
Oh,
hey, no.
I don't know what it is on your list. That's right.
Yeah. So Smooth Operator said, it's a comment. Do you guys remember the Zelda animated series from the 90s? Boy, do I ever. It's right up there with the Mario animated series.
Yeah. Well, excuse me, princess.
I know, right? Man, just to be in the 90s again, honestly. To be in the 90s again. Yeah. Hobby Hour said, you guys have a good stream. Have to head out. See you later. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. All right. So, so I guess it's my turn for third, right? So my third is actually Link to the Past, same as you.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So I know probably as highly as I spoke of that game, everybody probably anticipated that being my number one, but it is not. But it is in my top three for sure. So for all the right reasons and all the reasons that you already said and that I elaborated on, it's just one of those games I could go back and play it over and over, honestly. And it's one game that I always have on my Steam Deck. So if I'm traveling or whatever, I'll play it, do a save state, pick up where I left off, go back and play it. It's kind of like Super Metroid 2, where I know where every little thing is, and I can just almost speed run, but I don't really speed run. You know what I mean? So just love that game. Yeah. So, all right. So number dose. So Justin's number 2 is Wind Waker. That is his number 2. Okay. So what about so not quite number 1, but it is his number 2. So what is your number 2? Number 2.
So it's almost 1, some would say.
Yeah, that's what they do say.
Close. Mine is Ocarina of Time.
All right. Okay. I'm a little surprised.
It's another, obviously, a incredible game. I got a 99. It was number 1 on the Metacritic thing. There's a lot to it that made it such a good game, but I couldn't really figure out how to say it earlier, but it's basically like it was good at the time. Does it still hold up by going back and playing? I don't know, honestly. Like some games are great when they come out, but then it's harder to play them. And I think that happens when graphics hit a certain stage, and that is like right around the N64. So you got a Super Nintendo, and it's like I could play it all day because it's low bit, and people are making so many indie games that look like this. But then when you got the 3D like the 64, it's like it just looks. It's like there are some early 3D games that age well, but not very many of them. I think you're right though. Like you were kind of like in that, like when you were like still doing like 8-bit, 16-bit, 32-bit, like that stuff. Like it's frozen in time. You can go back and play it, and it doesn't matter what it looks like. Like I could go back and play Streets of Rage and still have such a good time, or a Final Fight, or any of those type of games. But like you asked me to go back and play like something in 3D that just doesn't look great. Like I try to go back and play Twisted Metal on like regular PlayStation. I'm like, how did I even play this game? And I forgot that was on the first game was on regular PlayStation before they had joysticks, and you had to drive
like the driving, just hitting up and down, and just it was so weird. It was just a weird experience. But yeah, so that's a good pick. That is good. How long's it been since you played that? How long's it been since you played that game?
Whenever it came out.
Oh, so you haven't went and replayed it. Okay, got you.
98, is that what it was? Yeah, so
yeah.
Haven't touched it.
No,
so it was on the 3DS. I had it for the 3DS.
Oh, okay.
It was like a re-release that they did, a remaster or something like that. And
so you played it in a short time you had it on there?
I played a little bit of it. I didn't play enough of it, but there's something about the 3D on that kind of device that just doesn't work for me.
So I'm gonna pull in a comment here from Christian. So I think Ocarina is an example of a game that is extremely important, but doesn't hold up as well as anything before or after it. Kind of like Final Fantasy VII, to be honest. That's a perfect example.
Final Fantasy VII is exactly what I was thinking of when we were talking about the graphics, just at that stage. Yeah, I loved 8 as well. And I played it last year, it was probably a couple of years ago. It was like the height of the pandemic. But I was playing it, downloaded it on my Switch, I think. And it's just like, God, it's okay on the Switch because the screen's small. So like the graphics is a little bit better when you plug it in to the TV and you're just like, oh God, this is rough. Yeah. So this is why we have to have remastered stuff like Resident Evil.
Yeah, and I don't know if you played I watched Christian play a little bit of the remaster of Resident Evil 4. I haven't bought it myself yet, but it looked phenomenal, and that's one of my favorite Resident Evil games. I need to play that. I need to go back and play that. And because I know you and I spent quite a bit of time playing Resident Evil 5 in co-op.
God,
oddly enough.
That they remake that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, got one more comment that I'll bring in here from TMNT 1987. What's up, fellas? Zelda talk with Jonathan, nerds and needles in the chat. This is the cool cafeteria table. That is a great comment.
Thanks for showing up. I appreciate it.
You have a lot of TMNT fans. I take it.
I told you.
Yeah, no joke.
There's a big part of the audience is Turtle Boys.
We need to have a TMNT watch party. Is what we need to do.
Let's do it.
Yeah, but all right. So that was your number 2. So my number 2. Because we're on the same wavelength that was up here, is Ocarina of Time as well. That Beautiful. Is my number 2. Yeah. So this was one of the, so oddly enough, just a funny side story. This is one of the very first video games I can remember. And I don't do it. I haven't done it in years, honestly, maybe since like probably GameCube, that I actually bought a walkthrough guide so I could get everything in the game for Ocarina of Time. I remember the Bigoron sword, right? All those things that you had, and getting all your hearts. And I wanted to get everything in that game, going to the graveyard and finding all the little scarabs, like all those things, the spiders or whatever. It was one of the games that I just wanted to get, everything in. And I love that game so much. And it's something about, and I don't know if they've done it in any other Zelda game since, at least to my knowledge, and maybe they have, and I just don't realize it. But the whole Temple of Time where you take the sword out, your adult Link, put the sword back, your kid Link. I don't know if they've ever revisited that, but at the time I thought it was one of the coolest concepts in any game I'd ever played, because like not only did your character change, but like the people in the world, like the world was different. People obviously aged with it. So the people you interacted with were obviously older as well. Like it was just a really cool, it was a really cool fact that they added into the game that I just loved.
It's interesting how much time travel is a part of their storytelling.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So Needle said, it's okay to be wrong with your number 1, Jonathan. Nobody's perfect.
Well, I haven't even given my number 1 yet.
Yeah. And then Smooth Operator said this comment, man, I miss the GameCube. I think GameCube severely underrated. I also think Dreamcast was before its time. I know that's a completely different console, but those are just two things I
Yeah.
feel.
In Dreamcast, the games were being made way after it should have been a dead system. But
Yep.
it just lived forever. And then the GameCube is the only Nintendo system that I never had and always wanted. So there were so many things that I missed out on. So I never played Metroid Prime or any of those, which at the time I was like, oh, first person. I was so mad about that. I was like, it's got to be a side scroller. But that was my first, like, truest next level experience with the Smash Brothers. Was a friend that had GameCube.
Yeah. I'm actually in the process. Fun fact: I'm in the process of playing through Metroid Dread for the first time. I've had it forever and I haven't played it. And I just recently have started playing it, and I've got a few hours in. So, all right, let's bring in some more comments, and then we'll move on. So, Christian said there are people still making Dreamcast games today. As a fun fact, also, I'm happy to have you on the Dreamcast Defense Force, Travis. I love the Dreamcast. I think one thing that unfortunately killed the console was it was so easy to duplicate games and just to copy games. I think that was the one. I mean, while it was cool for fans, I don't think it was cool for Sega. And I love Dreamcast. I think everything about that console, I felt like kind of paved the way from some features that we have now. The fact that they had like a video memory card unit that you could literally play like Pong on, and take it out of your controller and play games on it. You could have things like a Tamagotchi on it. It was different based on the games that you were playing. Just like I remember playing Unreal Tournament on that. That's also the console I very first got in the sports games, which oddly enough, 2K football games. I wish they were still around. I stopped playing when it was Madden only. That's when I stopped playing football games because I didn't think they were any good compared to 2K games. Needle said last Dreamcast game came out in 2007 or something. But that is odd to know that they're still making Dreamcast games. But I guess that's the nice thing about homebrew, right? People homebrew games all the time, and you can literally just put it in the Dreamcast and it plays, right? So, and here's one. You want to read this comment from one of your followers?
Hey, I'll read it. Early 2000s, high school cafeterias were like flea market, bootleg Dreamcast games and music CDs. Epic times, gents. I know I mentioned cafeteria in here twice now.
I mean, I'm not mad about cafeteria because I think about some cafeteria food I could kill right now, like some rolls, pizza days. Come on, taco boats. Oh,
what is it about the
fiestadas?
What is it about cubed pepperoni on a square pizza? It's so much better than a circle.
I don't know, bro.
So
but
good. I think it was just loaded with salt too.
Oh yeah, that's 100%. All right, so it's now time to get in number one games. I can never do that. But anyways, we'll go ahead and read Justin's number one game, and I think this will make Needles very happy. Ocarina of Time. That was Justin's number one Zelda game of all time, was Ocarina of Time. What about you, Maxwell? I am curious to hear what yours is, and I'm glad you didn't put it in the document because I'm kind of glad I didn't see what yours were ahead of time.
Yeah, I legit wrote it down. I was like, I don't want to put any of my answers in there where you can stuff. It just brings more interest to the conversation. Yeah. So, even though I used to be part of the podcast and we'd all put our stuff in there.
Yeah, that's okay. Go ahead.
So for me, this guy, number one Zelda gamer all time, right?
right on.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, you did play a lot of that game heavily.
I played a lot of it, and there were like a couple months we didn't have a job when I was in Florida. We were getting ready to move to another part of Florida, and I was just like, I'm just going to play the shit out of this. And then I was eating like pints of Ben and Jerry's like way too often. We lived real close to Publix, so I just go in there. They'd have like a 2 for $5 Ben and Jerry pints, and it was just like, oh, let me just eat this entire thing today.
Yeah, let me get that.
Let me have no self-control, and I will just eat this entire pint in one day. And halfway through, be like, I have to stop. This is so awful. I just like, this is the second one this week. This is so stupid. Stop doing this. Stop it. What is wrong with you? You're disgusting. And then sit down and play some more Zelda. Breath of the Wild.
Wow,
So I guess
that
it brings
sounds.
memories of ice cream too.
I was gonna say that almost sounds like it would have happened during like the pandemic, but no, that just happened during just regular life.
Yep.
All right, let's bring a comment in here, bro. I knew it. Breath of the Wild is the smack. Thumbs up. That was a comment from Smooth Operator. Yeah, You know what? Oddly enough, Breath of the Wild did not make my list. My number one. My number one. Why are you looking at me that way, bro? And I've said this multiple times to multiple people. My favorite Legend of Zelda game is the Wind Waker, because
Okay.
I think the Wind Waker is highly underrated. It's a completely different art style than anything we had ever seen at the time. We were
It's like
so
cell
used,
shading kind of style.
yes, we were also so used to seeing nothing but land, right? And some people may not know this, and I didn't know it until I have the encyclopedia for Zelda for some reason. But in the timeline at the time, Wind Waker is actually at the end, right? At the end of the timeline for Legends of Zelda, because obviously we know in all the other Zelda games, right? Hyrule just keeps getting taken over by Ganon, right? Like it's just a vicious cycle. So they just decide to flood the entire. That's why it's just water. They decide to just flood it all, right? Um, and it's
Yeah, and
just
you're a hero in the future, and not Link, but there's like tales of this
yes,
great legend, and this
yes,
was his uniform kind of thing or
and
whatever.
I think that in Christian, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you actually go to the temple and you see statues of other links, and it's the first time, at least to my knowledge, and that I realized that like every link was essentially just because it up until that point I just thought all these stories were just one-offs, but you're essentially a descendant from all these, all these, like, so it's like they make it abundantly clear like this is just a vicious cycle, right? And I just everything about that game I love. I love the fact that you're in a boat, you have a conversation with your boat, you're navigating like you're sailing, and you're charting a map. They work in like treasure hunting, like there's weather effects, like you're taking like you can go and randomly like go inside of these different forts and bases. They're like shooting cannons at you in the water. Like it's just everything about that game is so drastically different than anything that we had seen up until that point. And that's not to take away from other Zelda games, but I felt like up until that point, everything was rinse and repeat with all the Zelda games, right? Like most of the gameplay mechanics were the same. It just seemed like the worlds were getting larger and larger. Now, of course, like with Twilight Princess, obviously you had Wolf Link, so that was obviously different as well. But I just felt like for me, Wind Waker, Wind Waker was just drastically different than anything else. Bringing in a comment from Christian. The theme song on the intro screen for Wind Waker is absolutely goated. It says no one can go back and listen to that song and not smile unless you hate joy. That's absolutely true. But yeah,
What about they
Go ahead.
can't always land it. So for some reason the boat it's good, but when you
What?
put him on a water and boat, good theme, right? You tried something different, but then you put him on a train and call it Spirit Tracks, and it's like a pile of shit.
I mean,
I think
that
I
is
played
fair.
10 or 15 minutes of that game, and I was just so frustrated. And I think Wayne remembers you could only play with the stylus, or you had to for a lot of the stuff, and I was just like, I'm over this.
Yeah, yeah. I did not care for that game either. Hence why that didn't make any of our list, and it also was not on Metacritic's list either. But what I think's funny though is like Skyward. So technically, with Hyrule being technically the end, right? Skyward Sword was the first in the series technically because they started in the sky and then they came to the land. They started off as sky people, oddly enough. So yeah. It's a whole thing. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Hence why there's kind of like feathers for the Hyrule like shield. If you've ever noticed that.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, bro. But anyways, um, but yeah, so that's our list. I did want to go back and share, and anybody that's still here, feel free to put your list if you want us to read it on the air. But I'm going to go back because somebody had posted Needles. Yes, so Needles have posted fifth Twilight Princess, fourth Breath of the Wild, third Link to the Past, second Wind Waker, and number one Ocarina of Time. No surprise what Needles' number one was, but yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for
that's a
sharing.
very respectable list in a
Absolutely,
great order
yeah,
that I
absolutely.
disagree with.
Thanks. But yeah, anything else that you want to add to the Zelda conversation? Are you you're planning on playing Tears of the Kingdom at some point? I assume, right?
I don't know. I mean, when I was saying that I haven't because I know it would take up a lot of my time, I'm pretty serious and genuine about that because I'm over here. I'm right in front of you.
No, no, no,
Hi.
you're fine. I'm going to share something. Keep talking. I'm listening.
Who's talking? What? Patrick Star over here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait a minute. I am the personality type. If anybody is familiar with the Enneagram, I'm a type 3, which is just like it's hard for me to go on vacation or do something where you're just like it's like go to the beach and lay down and relax. It's like all I can think about for that hour of being on the beach is like how much I could be doing something productive. So
Yeah,
when I invest too much time, like with Elden Ring and stuff, I'm like, I just like I get frustrated with myself because then it's like, why I didn't do anything today except for this. So I can't do that tomorrow. I got to do this. I got to work on this. I'm always doing something. And whether it's making shirts or just stuff or making stuff for the channel. Yeah, so I'm not sure that I will play this game.
okay. Well, fair enough. I want to thank Christian for sending this to me in Discord. So this is an actual timeline. So thanks for sending me this in real time so I could share it while we're talking. So yeah, so Skyward Sword you see is at the top, and then it goes down to Mission Cap, Four Swords, and then Ocarina of Time. But then it breaks into three different, essentially timelines. So you have Fallen Hero timeline, Child timeline, Adult timeline. And then Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I guess, is question mark because we don't really know where it falls in the timeline. But just wanted to share this. I've never actually seen this chart, so thanks for sharing that. That's really cool because I was
Wow.
interested to see. Yeah, there's a lot here. Like so, Link
So
to the
Fallen
Past.
Hero is specifically the link that we grew up with The Legend of Zelda. And
Yeah.
so this is like those are all his stories specifically.
Yep.
That's
Which is
so
really
weird.
interesting. I
And it's
know.
real weird to think that the original NES and the second one come after everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, that's and then the first adult timeline is Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. So Spirit Tracks technically takes place after Wind Waker, which I did not know. But that's
Wow.
interesting. And I love Four Swords. That was one I completely forgot about because Four Swords was the ones you could do Game Boy Advance. You could do 4-player co-op, which is really cool. Yeah, thanks again for sharing that. All right, so all right, let me check comments. Let's see here. One more comment here. Christian says, yeah. So they split it if Link dies. Child timeline is if Kid Link beats Ocarina of Time. And then if Adult Link beats the game, if I recall correctly. Okay, well, that makes perfect sense based on what you sent. So thank you for that. All right, let's get into anything else that you had to share before we move on? No, you're good?
No,
All
I'm
right.
good.
Well, it's time to get into our. I'm not going to make you say pick of the week, Maxwell. We'll just call this not of approval and just move on. So, this is a section of the show where essentially, if we've been watching something, playing something, reading something, listening to something, something we think maybe you would enjoy, it's just our recommendation. So, so Maxwell, I asked you to prepare one or two things, or
Yeah.
five, or however many you have. So, go ahead.
So not of approval, which is interesting. Um, when I hear this phrase, and I thought about it earlier today, and I'm like, this is basically like in a movie when somebody does a thing, and then
You're like,
across the room is somebody else, and they just go,
yeah,
it's just as
exactly.
simple like,
I
yeah,
think
I,
that,
it's
yeah,
like Creed, Adonis Creed beats Jonathan Major's character at the end and turns and looks at whoever, and they just went. Just as
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah. This is yeah. So let me tell you what I think. I have to share what I think when I see this. Okay. And this is
Okay.
so it's kind of similar to what you were saying, except here it is. Jack Nicholson giving you that nod, like, yes. That's what I think every time I say that. I don't know why, and it's kind of disturbing, but there it is.
It is disturbing.
Yeah, but anyways, what do you have for us, Maxwell? Is it your own channel? Is that it? Is that your nod of approval?
No, I would never. I'm not full of myself. I'm not conceited or anything. But my artwork, you can buy my artwork. No, it is two things. One thing that I wanted to be here when you and Justin were talking about it is Barry.
Oh, I was gonna. I meant to bring that up during the week to ask if you watched last night's episode, but yes, go ahead.
Wow, that show is just always good. Okay, and this is just like it's breaking expectations this season, and it's the last season, so they're just doing whatever, and I'm like, okay, Bill Hader, man, you know what's up, and I love me some what's his face? Oh my god, Henry Winkler. Thank you.
Yeah, Henry Winkler.
My other picky. Nope, my not of approval. If I had a hat, I'd.
And I tip my hat like so.
Yeah, this is a gentleman's approval.
That's right.
It is Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Oh, bro. No spoilers, but yes, bro.
There have been so many Marvel things that have come out lately. Just kind of like, that was fun. That was good. And I liked No Way Home. I enjoyed Multiverse of Madness. But this movie, just there's so much emotion in it at so many different times. And at the end of it, you're still kind of carrying all that emotion in different ways. And I don't think what people expect. But it's just like, man, James Gunn, good job.
Yeah. Yeah. I went into it because I'll be honest, not a huge fan of this. Not a huge fan of the second Guardians movie. It did not sit well with me. I did not really care for it. Okay. I think I liked the first half of the movie. It was the latter half of the movie and the last fight between him and his father that I did not care for. But the third movie, I would venture to say probably the best Marvel movie since Endgame. And that even goes over Spider-Man. I think Spider-Man has more rewatchability. I don't know if I could sit down and watch the third Guardians again, to be perfectly honest with you. It was pretty heavy right out of the gate and was pretty heavy through with some comedy sprinkled throughout. But yeah, no, I completely agree.
That's a really good point. Okay. I want you to know that. Travis, look at me.
Yeah, I'm looking. I mean, I told you I was approval. When I said I was going to be honest, I was being honest.
Yeah, always be honest. So that is it is an incredible movie, and I'm okay if I don't see it again. Isn't that weird? Isn't that a weird thing to say?
I mean, yeah, there's definitely movies I feel that way about. And that's one
I'm sure in like a few months or something I'll watch it again. But
yes.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. All right. So my two picks, let me go back to my notes just to be sure. Yes, my two picks are, the first one is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Can't recommend this game enough for those of you that want to play it, that are holding out for the PC version to be improved. Continue to do so, but I will say just avoid as many spoilers as you can, because the story of that game, I mean, the story of the first game was great. However, the story of this game takes that and multiplies it by 10. There's so many like turns and things that I did not expect, and a story that I connected with more so than I thought I would. It's really good. It's such a good story. It's like you beat the first Spider-Man on PlayStation, right? No? I don't know
No.
why I would have assumed that you did, but never mind. Anyways, what I was trying to say is there's certain animated stories I feel like are so good that I wish they were on live action instead.
Last
Just
of Us,
because,
perfect example.
yeah, that's true. That's true. However, I don't think we
Which
need to
said
throw the game.
instead, which I didn't listen to. But like
Yeah.
the story of in a game is so good that you're like, I want a live action. That's what I was thinking of.
Yes.
But
Yes, and it really makes me hope that they bring in the character from the game into live action, which could possibly happen with maybe a season 2 of Obi-Wan, maybe Ahsoka. I'm not sure, but it's really good. Definitely check it out if you're a Star Wars fan. If you have it, if you're planning on playing it on console, you can honestly play it now without really any issues. If you're on PC, it could be hit or miss. From what my friend Alex told me, once you leave the first main planet, it was fine after that. Kobo is like the main planet, the biggest planet. It's kind of the hub planet. That's where he encountered most of the issues. After you're off world and you're doing other stuff, it's fine. So just do with that what you will. So that's my
the
number. Yeah,
that's
go ahead.
keep talking about it.
What
Let
is
me
it?
keep talking about it.
Okay, go ahead. Keep talking.
So the actor, because he is an actor,
Yes.
and you know he's good because he had to play like 3 different types of the Joker in the Gotham
Yes.
TV show. So it's like, wow, they really put weight on him, right?
Yeah.
But he, yeah, they had like commercial where
Him and
Mark
Mark Hamill.
Hamill's, yeah, it's like, oh, that's a fun short little thing. But he is an actor. He does a good job, Mark Hamill. But it really makes me want, because of incredible storytelling is happening in games and technology and amazing work that game developers and creators are doing are getting brought into shows and movies and stuff like that, right? So like that's how all the Star Wars stuff works, because we have these incredible like Unreal Engine talented people that can create these landscapes or whatever. But we could do a Luke Skywalker game that gives us an incredible story and gets Mark Hamill to do the voice acting, so we don't have to emphasis on the voice acting, versus trying to get somebody in to come in and do like a whole youthful version of him. Like, could you imagine a like 10+ hour game or Elden Ring style 100 hours where it's Mark Hamill story of like after Return of the Jedi or something?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be amazing. But it also goes to show me, like, because all this stuff is canon in the Star Wars universe. So like obviously we know like Clone Wars, Rebel, like the universe can be vastly large, and it could be, but it just makes me wonder, like, what do you miss by not playing certain things or watching certain things? Because I haven't watched Clone Wars or Rebels, like I'm nervous about watching Ahsoka because I don't know anything about that character. So it's like, do
Yeah,
I go
I
back and
mean,
watch these things, or do I just watch a YouTube video that just catches me up so I don't have to do that? You know what I mean?
the answer is yes.
To all those things. Okay.
I think that they've done an excellent job of introducing these characters and bringing stuff in that is okay if you don't know who they are. But if you do know who Ahsoka is, and you see her show up in the Mandalorian, you're just more excited.
Yeah.
You don't need to know all the weight and the history of her and Anakin and all this stuff from the show, but maybe it's nice to go watch the shows. I think that they are going to do it smart where, yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs. There's the main villain in the show is a guy from the cartoon, but I don't think it's going to be, you're just not going to have that story, but you can still enjoy this as it is.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and
No,
not feel like
I
you're missing
absolutely
something.
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Justin
like
says
the
I want.
Easter eggs in Super
Yeah.
Mario, the beginning of it, right? Like we enjoy those Easter eggs, but if you didn't know them, it's okay. Just it's background noise, essentially.
I love that Justin is, instead of just typing in the comments that I could easily see, he decides to text me instead. Very convenient, Justin. Thank you so
It's very
much.
distracting too.
Yeah, he says, I watched the 30-minute Clone Wars video, and that made me want to go back and watch it. So I went and I watched it. Well, thank you so much for the text message. I want to catch up on comments real quick, and then I will give you my last nod of approval. So Christian said that he had to jet. This is a comment from Christian. Said, you guys, this was fun. So thanks for stopping and thanks for engaging. It's always good when people engage in the dialogue. I love that. Smooth Operator has a couple of comments here. Says Barry is a good ass show. Yeah, we could say good ass here. That's okay. Not a lot of people talk about it. And then
I wonder if that was something that got translated and
blocked it. If it did it, maybe.
Because I have a video on Instagram that lives other places, but I said the word crap, RAP, and Instagram put like a bunch of characters in there, like an @ symbol and exclamation stuff. And it bleeped the audio.
Oh,
so I was just left it because I thought it was even funnier. As you can see, my mouth say crap. I'm like, it's kind of funnier now that there's like a bleep in there. It's like the comedy is like, do you say the F word or do you bleep it? Sometimes the bleep is the funnier approach.
I was really hoping that they would just replace your audio with another word. So it would be like the TNT version of like Die Hard, where instead of saying like yippee-ki-yay mother, they say yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Spencer. Like I'll never forget that happened one time. And it stuck with me since I was a teenager. It just cracks me up.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Last comment from Smooth Operator. It says Jedi Survivor would be a fantastic live action movie, but I don't think Disney would allow that to happen. I agree wholeheartedly. So my last nod of approval, I am going to share just because I meant to have it beside of me, but I forgot to grab it, even though I conveniently told Maxwell, hey, anything you want to show on camera, make sure you have within arm's reach. And then look what I did. I didn't have it within arm's reach. So so let me go ahead and I am a bastard. All right. So I want to share this. This is called everybody's like, oh, it's a controller for a phone. That's not news. So essentially what this is, it's made by a company called GameVice. It's called the Flex. It is a controller that plugs into the lightning port of your phone that essentially gives you like an Xbox controller style, which isn't a new concept. However, what is a new concept that only this company is doing is this is the only controller on the market that you can put your phone in without having to take off your case, because who wants to do that? That's miserable. And I've recently got into mobile gaming, like I mentioned earlier at the top of the show, but I've also been using this to do remote play on my PlayStation 5 and also been using it to do Game Pass, being able to use cloud streaming and stream games over the internet. And it's actually worked surprisingly well. And the thing I also like about it is it just clips back together and it's super portable. And it doesn't have to be charged because it just runs off your phone's battery. And
what if you need to charge your phone while you're playing?
Well, I'm so glad you asked, because guess what? It has a lightning port built into the bottom right corner. Thank you for that. And then also, guess what? What if you're on a plane and you don't have AirPods like most Americans? Well, it has a headphone jack. You can plug into the bottom of the controller with regular old wired headphones. And so you can do that. One of the cool things about this controller, too, is it's not like a lot of other mobile controllers. This actually has full triggers. So certain games that take advantage of this feature, like racing games, like the longer you press and the farther you press down, the faster you accelerate. So it has that Hall effect triggers, which is really cool. But yeah, just something that I would recommend if you've thought about mobile gaming. Apple Arcade has recently started adding some actually pretty good quality games. So I thought now was the time for me to pick one up. And I spent like 2 weeks researching which one to get. And this is the one that I end up getting. And if you buy it, you also get a month free of Game Pass. And no, this isn't an ad. I don't make money off this. I'm just sharing with you what I purchased. But you can also use it for Steam Link. Like I said, PlayStation Remote, Xbox streaming. If you're a fan of GeForce Now, works pretty much with all the services. And it has its own dedicated app as well, which will showcase what games they feel like works best with the controller. So that is my last nod of approval. So Maxwell, let's talk about nothing else because it's the end of the show. but in close, let's see here. Smooth Operator said, "Yippee-ki-yay, mother father." That's a good one. That is a good one. I was really hoping he actually typed it out and then just corrected that, but I know he was being clever. But anyways, in closing, Maxwell, I want to say thank you for being here, but I also, for anybody that's joined late,
I won't.
but I won't. I want to give you time to say anything in closing, where the people can find you, all that good jazz.
You can
Or
find me
anything else?
right here until the video's over, and I won't be here anymore. You could rewind it, and I'll still be here technically.
That is true. That is true.
Really, the best way to get in touch, is to this channel. I don't really do my other social stuff, so I know there are some people that will go over to my personal Instagram that following me from my YouTube channel and stuff, and we have conversed there. But I would like to migrate everything to the Nostalgia Unboxed Instagram. It took me forever to dedicate and just go, you know what, just make the account. But sometimes I just have so much on my plate. I'm just like, I can't. But Nostalgia Unboxed, pretty much everywhere. But
And
YouTube's the big thing. Twitter, Instagram.
Where can they find the bulk of your art? Is that on your link tree typically?
Yeah, anything you possibly want from me is in my link tree. Okay. Which the easiest way to get there is to know what my link tree URL is, probably. Oopsie poopsie.
They can also add you on Instagram, and it's at the top there as well.
It's easy. It is. Linktree always does the same kind of URL, so it's just Linktree, but there's a period between the R and the two E's. Does that make sense? So it's like a shortened URL.
It's as clear as
/ Nostalgia Unboxed. That's it.
That's it.
Easy. So you can go straight there, and you find. What do I have on there? Let's look. I've got some links. If there's like a hot item that I'm recommending, like NECA re-released the NECA Alien Queen, which is a big, has been around since like 2016 or 2014 or something like that. But they're doing pre-orders again for it. So I have I'll put some specialty links in there. But you can buy shirts and coffee mugs and stuff like this. Way too long about the segment. It's just like, where can we find you?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's it. So everything's there. Artwork, all kinds of stuff.
Well, this obviously won't be the last time you're on the show. I mean, we had planned on having you.
Oh, it is definitely the last time. I would never do this again.
Yeah, we had planned on having you on like in the next couple weeks, but Justin decided he wanted to move up that timetable, so he called off sick like a little bitch. But anyways.
Well, good. Maybe he can be next week. I'll do it again.
Yeah, he said I'll do whatever, whenever. But but as always, so just you know where to find us. So Nerds with Mics. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitch, YouTube. We typically try to go live every Sunday or Monday at 8:30. Feel free to send us some messages directly on any of our social medias with any thoughts, ideas, comments you might have. Topics you'd like to have brought to the show. Feel free to obviously seek out Maxwell at his channel, add him, share his channel as well, because obviously he's my best friend, and if you don't do it, I'll quit doing this podcast. Wow. That's how much I love. That's how much I love you, dog. Stakes are high. Let's see here. I think we got one more comment. It says, "Great show, guys. See you next time." Turtle fist pound from Smooth Operator. Boom.
Yeah, it's like, do you like turtles, or is he bopping them like Mario Bro?
That's right.
Punching turtles.
Right. Yep. Well, anyways,
thank you so much. I listen. Over from my stuff, that was watching this, which was a lot of my people this time. I'm incredibly thankful. I definitely don't always expect you guys to follow me around to different places, but I love it, and I'm here for it, and I love engaging with my community.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again, Maxwell, for taking the time out. I know this is very last minute today that you were able to get some stuff together. But appreciate you joining me as always. And, it's been so long since we've done this. Let's make sure that it's not so long since we do it until we do it again.
The best part about all this, and I love you, and I don't want to take away from what you just said, because I hear you, and I'm here for you.
I hate this already.
Is how many times that I show something to the camera, and the audio people are going to be like, "Oh God, this is so frustrating."
Well, if anything, that's just going to encourage them to watch as well as listen. But
yeah.
But as always,
yes,
yeah,
it's been great, and I love you.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I'll come on your channel and show things that I don't have. But anyways, That does it for us here at Nerds with Mics. Jonathan, thanks you again for joining. And once again, we appreciate you tuning in, and we will see you next time. Have a great one.